Hello again, Lawyer Forward audience. I'm Mike Whalen. We are here talking to our friends about what to do next. We all have jumped online and tried to figure out how to put our practices virtual as fast as we could, doing that triage. But we got to talk about the next thing. How do we redesign our business? How do we deal with, clients have new expectations? We have different resources available. So we're talking through that. Remember, after each of these sessions that will be posted on the 16th and 17th of April, we'll be doing Facebook watch parties where we'll go into the Facebook group, the Lawyer Forward Facebook group, and we'll have a thread for each video. And in that, you can interact, you can share ideas. The speakers have agreed to show up during blocks of time so that you guys can ping ideas around. If you're watching this into the future, you can actually go back to that thread, participate in that conversation, even if you weren't watching it at the same time as everybody else. So don't forget that. Today, we're talking to my friend, Mark Homer of Get Noticed, Get Found. Mark, how are you surviving the apocalypse?
Doing okay, actually, Mike. My kids are teenagers, so I'm not having to learn how to teach sixth grade math or anything. So that's good.
It's so funny you say that because everybody keeps telling me they've got little kids and it's really hard. And I may just have stupid teenagers, but they are just as likely to interrupt me and run in and talk about bodily functions as they were when they were 5. I don't know. My kids are a disappointment. I don't know. But good on you. Good on you.
You must not beat your kids as much.
Fair point. So today, shifting, we are talking about appropriate uses of social media when dealing with an apocalypse. Spoiler alert, don't put up your regular ad of hashtag DWI lawyer, hashtag call now, because nobody cares. So, Mark, what should we do instead?
All right. Well, glad you asked. I'm going to share my screen to present that. All right. Here we go. Should be faster to do this. It should be a one button click there. Okay, so we're going to talk about leveraging social media the right way, Mike. I always think that this is a topic that law firms love to hate, but once we kind of show them that it's something they should be doing and can be doing, I think they also hate to love it as well. So let's talk social media a little bit. First of all, I will do the brief intro on me. I'm Mark Homer, GNGF, Get Noticed, Get Found. Started my career at a small technology company called IBM, right around the time the internet was kind of being created in terms of the World Wide Web, at least. So built some of the first websites for like Fortune 500 tech companies, been around the intersection of kind of pretty much technology and marketing since then. So doing this for about, since 95. So we wrote a book about 10 years ago now, Online Law Practice Strategies, which kind of, I think, got us to speak and invited in to like bar associations and things like that. So kind of been around this topic in the legal industry specifically for about 10 years now. And you can see me I guess I'm kind of cool there. Okay, so for your audience, I did tell you that I would allow everybody to grab a free copy of our book because, it's $50, but if this book can help people right now over the next few months, then please grab it. gngf.com/free-book. Just make sure you mention Lawyer Forward in the dropdown.
I've read it, by the way. Most of the time, I just let people, push out whatever they want to because I have no standards. But this specifically is a very good book. I've actually read this one.
Thank you. Full color and everything. So we have pretty pictures in there, websites, and all kinds of good stuff. But something else, Mike, did you know I was in a plane crash?
I'm going to pretend I haven't heard this story. No, Mark, you were?
Yes. I was in a plane crash. The irony, though, is not lost on me because I actually had a parachute on my back as the plane was going down. So I was trying to skydive, and the plane ran out of engine. It just kind of stopped working around 1,000 feet. So not quite high enough to jump out, but high enough that it was a pretty scary ride down. So yeah, just something unique about me. All right, let's get into actually what we're here to talk about. So why are we talking about social media? First of all, I want to let you guys know that not every potential client that you could be helping is actually out there looking for your services, believe it or not. So, we talk about paid advertising all the time, or search engine optimization, or, getting, like people searching online for a lawyer. But what we found is that, there's a lot of people that could use the services of a lawyer, could really need the help, but don't know that they need the help because they're just not aware of some things going on. So, social media is a great way to kind of capture and get in front of those type of potential clients.
Yeah, there was a long period on the internet where we were obsessed with the buyer's journey, and somebody looks for us and then they do this and then they do this. And we found out that consumers were like, screw your stupid plan. That's not how I interact with things. I'm in a complex world. And so, yeah, social is a great way to just sort of create an environment in which people are more likely to find you. It's tough to get a hold of, but that's how people actually operate.
Exactly. Yeah. And we'll have some, I have a ton of examples and probably more than we have time for, but I will go through a lot of examples to kind of get people going here. But another reason is branding. So one of the things, I don't know if you remember this, Mike, in the Super Bowl, I think it was in New Orleans or whatever, the lights went out for a little bit. And then Oreo had spent all this money on this big like first quarter ad. So they had their whole social media team there, and they quickly created this, you can still dunk in the dark Oreo and just put it out on Twitter and Facebook and stuff. And this, to be honest, I mean, I remember this very clearly that in this campaign, this promotion. I couldn't tell you any other commercial that ran during that New Orleans Super Bowl ad, but to this day, I still remember this campaign that was just free image they created and thrown out on Twitter. I'm not saying you're going to be Oreo and everybody's going to remember you 20 years later because of one tweet, but the idea is that you can do a great job of just some brand recognition on social media. And finally, social media, I'm really a big proponent of the concept of, people hire people, and people want to hire, somebody to help them when they really know, like, and trust. You'll hear that term a lot used by marketers, but it's the kind of they get to know you, they get to like you, and then they trust you. That's when you're going to have a really, really good opportunity to turn somebody into a really great client. Social media is a great way to show who you are so they can really start to understand, know, like, and trust you. The other thing I like about social media is you'll hear a lot of people, and we are one of them, that will talk about Google all the time. We will spend, I bet, like 80–90% of my presentations will be around search engine optimization, content marketing for Google purposes, paid advertising on Google. Google My Business, I'm sure you've got probably somebody doing a presentation on Google My Business. And all these things are really important, but they're one piece of a bigger marketing strategy. You can't just put all your eggs in the Google basket. You need to be thinking, what is your goal as a law firm? And then what are all the places you need to be thinking from a marketing perspective? And that includes, by the way, still doing the old fashioned, networking around your town. Like the things that, were working before still work. We're just trying to incorporate other pieces of marketing tactics that, kind of make a more holistic strategy. So
one of those eggs in the background is broken. I just want to point that out. I think it was on purpose to draw your attention.
It was the MySpace egg.
Oh.
So, the first thing I want to say is kind of coming to that holistic strategy there. I do want to make sure, when we're talking about social media, we're not, I don't want people to leave this presentation and go, oh, I just need to spend all my time on social media and everything will be great. Mark said so. What we need to make sure you're doing is you do have a foundation, right? So you have some website that has the ability for somebody to contact you, whether that's via chat or a form or a phone number, some way that somebody is accessing, can access your website and provide some information. You've got the basic technical SEO done. You've got your local SEO done. So your Google My Business and some other stuff. You do want to have that foundation. Some good evergreen content. So if you have content on your website, it's stuff that can last and is really meaningful to somebody coming to visit your website, that they can learn about what you do, why you do it, why you should be doing it for them. You can create some landing pages, because social media campaigns often, can work well connecting to a specific landing page on your website. And if you can capture emails, I'm a big proponent of getting an email list going, because if you spend money or spend time and effort to drive people to your website and you can capture an email, then you can communicate and stay top of mind, aware with that, email address, to that consumer for years to come for practically next to nothing. So I think, before we get on all the social media stuff, make sure you have a good foundation. All right, I want to talk a little bit about social media done the wrong way. Kind of your point about, just blasting out DWI attorney. So one of the things I see people do all the time is what I call just shouting into the megaphone. And this is where you have people doing things like, they wrote a blog piece and they just decide everybody needs to see this blog piece over and over. So here, and I just grab people's examples because they're public online, but this person really wants you to know about this blog post about underinflated tires, because he's now posted it 2 days in a row. And furthermore, the next 2 days or a few days, I think he really wants you to understand about this blog post about, dental hygiene issues. So yeah, I mean, they're important issues, but this is all he does. This is like, 6 tweets in a row, and 3 of them are about this underinflated tires. So this is kind of just shouting the megaphone. Now, you wouldn't go to a networking event and just walk up to everybody and say, "Hey, have you read my blog post yet? Have you read my blog post yet?" Yeah,
underinflated
exactly.
tires. Underinflated tires. What's your name? Underinflated tires.
Exactly. Right. So what you do, right? You do things differently. So, well, the other things I see a lot of times people go, well, I don't want to just do underinflated tires, so let me buy this social media package from some company, and then we end up things like this. Where first of all, you're not talking to your audience, and you're not really telling them anything about how you can do or what you can do to help. You're not connecting to them within the community. I mean, here's an example. So March 18th, today is National Awkward Moments Day. None of us are perfect. Every now and then we forget to push, right? Do you think there might have been something else a little more important in their community going on around March 18th, right? Like, or should we really talk about on March 11th that Paul McCartney was knighted by Queen Elizabeth, right? There is many, many more things important going on that really connect you to that community, where you can talk about, hey, I get it. We're all going through, some massive changes right now. We're open. We can do this. Did you see this? This is important. You should be aware of this. Here's what we're doing to help as a law firm. All those kind of things, right?
Like, okay, this is distracting, but I went to that particular handle just to see what else is going on. None of those posts have been liked or retweeted or engaged with in any way since now is April, whatever it is, 9th. And the last one was, it's National Let's Laugh Day.
Yeah.
Just FYI.
Great.
Driving the point home, Mark Homer. Go on.
So the other thing is, just posting and never engaging. So to that kind of point, it's like, again, here's yet another person I just grab their information, but Hockman and Plunkett here is just sending out all their stuff about everything's just a blog post, right? Versus I got Mark Newman here, this is his Twitter account going from his webpage that I just Googled somebody, personal injury attorney near me, I think is how I found Mark Newman. Not a client or anything, but at least he's saying, hey, I'm part of the community and I'm retweeting things that are really important going on right now. I mean, it's not like he's saying, hey, I'm a lawyer or anything, but hey, let me use my Twitter feed to talk about things that are important. So if you're going to follow his Twitter feed, you're going to kind of learn a little bit about what Mark Newman cares about or what he thinks is important right now going on, versus just seeing blog posts. So that's just kind of like what not to do. All right. The other thing I wanted to talk about is everybody always says social media is great because it's free. It doesn't cost anything. But I want to remind everybody that while it pretty much is pennies to go create a Twitter account, create a Facebook page and post, to do it right does take time. So you're not just creating, social media posts. You're actually having to, think about, curating the stuff in terms of, what's a good image that goes along with this? What is going on right now that I want to care about? How do I, spend time to actually engage and reply and react to people that are engaging with me online? How do I find people to tag and communicate with that are in my community? So this stuff takes time to do it right. But let's talk about how you can get started. So to get started, one of the things I just basically say is pick one platform. There's a ton of them out there, right? So you got Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, you got Twitter. People are posting on Google My Business consistently now.
TikTok. You do a lot of TikTok.
You could be TikTok all day. Yeah. I have yet to get on TikTok, and I know I probably should be. Just to
I need more Mark lip syncing videos. Let's get on
that. So the thing about getting started is like pick one platform and then think about how you connect with your community. Like talk about that. Don't just talk about you as a lawyer in working at a law firm or owning a law firm or running a law firm, but talk about what you do that's important in the community. Are there talk about your family. People hire people want to know about like that you're a real human being that has a family, it lives in their town, maybe sponsors things and cares about some of the same kind of stuff they do. The other thing is tag people in your town, react and comment. So if you're going to be on social media, go out and actually react and comment to other people's stuff. Share it, retweet it. If you're on Twitter, share it on Facebook. Like if you're looking through your Facebook feed, there's something interesting to you, tell other people about it, right? And that person knows that you shared it, you liked it, you engaged with it, and those things come around. The other thing that I think is a big miss of an opportunity that a lot of people don't even realize or don't do is there's a lot of great groups, especially on Facebook and LinkedIn. But you can join some groups and share and talk within these groups that are groups that are probably where maybe prospective member or prospective clients could be, and or just maybe even groups that are prospective referral partners. So if it's either other attorneys, or maybe if you're, let's say, an estate planning attorney, maybe it's some financial advisors, or maybe there's groups for social workers if you're like maybe in criminal or some of these areas, right? So there's groups that you can go get involved in and just be a normal person and hang out and chat with people via the social feeds.
Well, and I wanted to ask, you might get to this, but if you're picking a platform, it may be obvious, but how do you tie that platform to the audience that you're after?
Yeah, no, it's a really good question. So let's spend a second talking about it.
Do it.
So I'm not going to dive into that later. So let's just do it now. So
okay, sure.
I've been telling people lately, just instead of saying, hey, go figure out your platform, Facebook is probably the easiest one to say, go there and start there, just because it has the widest view. And unless you are in B2B, you can do well in Facebook. B2B being, you're a law firm that only serves other businesses. That being said, I still think you can do well on Facebook in that regards, because business owners are people too, right? Or people who work at businesses are people. Now, the other side of that is that Facebook does get, because it's bigger, it may be a little more expensive and does get a little more saturated. LinkedIn is an area where lately, over the past few months, we've seen LinkedIn, well, maybe even more than the past few months, maybe the past 6 months, we've seen LinkedIn grow a lot in terms of posts that are less just businessy, but also some personal coming out and people sharing things that they care about in the community. And if you think about it, a lot of people are spending time in LinkedIn during the day that are maybe more business, business oriented, business professionals, but they're spending a lot of time in LinkedIn during the day. So they're there, right? Doesn't mean that they only think about business all day. There's other things in their head that they're struggling with, keeping them up at night, they're thinking about all day. So you can talk about non-business things in LinkedIn, because those are people too, right?
Yeah. Where like Twitter, which is my platform, if I serve legal tech companies, and so that's where technology companies are academics are there, politics happens there. So each one sort of has its own audience and personality, and you got to figure out which one is right for the people you're trying to serve, I think.
And I think where do you feel comfortable?
Right.
Because you're going to do the best work if you're engaging and you're being authentic. So if you're comfortable in Facebook and you're spending a lot of time there, you already kind of know the platform and stuff, just start there and stay there for a while.
Yep.
You can always extend, but that's, again, you're being authentic. So on Twitter, you're comfortable on Twitter, Mike, and you're, quick to like tweet stuff out and reply and comment and be snarky sometimes. And like that works in that environment for you. Right. So you you have a great following on Twitter because of that.
Not as funny on LinkedIn.
Not as funny on LinkedIn.
I'm just not as funny there.
Yeah, like LinkedIn is very interesting because, again, it's I'm trying to remind people that the same person who may be on Facebook, during the day they're on LinkedIn. But the other thing about LinkedIn is it is a higher net worth, higher educated audience. So if maybe you're leaning that way in terms of wanting to like focus your practice, maybe it's divorce, but you want to do like higher net worth divorces, or you want to do like professional women, or focusing on a certain area, LinkedIn might be a good place because of that. So that is something you can kind of do a market message match there. Leveling up social media. So this would be like kind of taking things to the next level. Incorporating video. Video is great. It plays very well on social media. You don't have to be fancy. I mean, we've got microphones and light setups and stuff here, like as we're doing this, Mike, right? But you can just grab your phone, like hit the record button and start talking to it. I mean, Instagram, Facebook, a lot of people are just doing stuff on their phone. It's acceptable. It's okay. Being authentic and doing it more often and with a phone and not waiting for some expensive setup and thinking you need to be like the tech wizard is much better than not doing it. Tagging people, taking a little extra time to find people's handles and learning how to tag them, either whether it's on Twitter or on Facebook, connecting with them and tagging them, tagging maybe restaurants in your city that or other brands that are popular that you like engaging with. Interviewing people is a huge trick for really growing your social presence. Interview people around town. I'll give you some examples of that here in a little bit, but that's a great way to grow your presence. And then organizing outreach campaigns is another way. If you're already doing stuff, leverage it on social media. A lot of people already do giveaways and charitable giving and stuff. I'm just saying, but do you talk about it on social media? Are you sharing it? Are you finding ways to increase maybe the reach because of that? So, leverage social media. Right. And finally, just like a kind of water pump, like social media takes a while to get going, but once it's going, it flows pretty quickly. So I'll tell people that, you need to kind of be doing this 3, 4, or 5 months in a row before you really start to kind of get enough where people trust that you're going to be there enough that they're going to continue engaging. So your first 4, 5, 6 of these, posts, tweets, videos, whatever, may have crickets, reply to it. But it's the consistency and the tagging and the engaging with other people that's going to help it grow. Let's get to some examples. I think this is the part to kind of get people's, brainstorming a little bit here of what other people are doing. Morris Lilienthal, Morris is a client of ours, but so I have a lot of examples for him and a little more data than I would have if I just grabbed something on the internet. But Morris does a thing called a Mo Show, and he does a lot of video and a lot of interviews. And so he just uses a really simple tool. I think he uses Blue Jeans. I'll have an example of it or that and some other examples later. But Morris interviews people around town or interviews people who are really passionate about a certain topic, and he just shares things with that he thinks maybe people might care about. So in Huntsville, Alabama, on the left here, you'll see there it says Spencer Beatty. That was a basketball team, and so he had the coach and the kids of the basketball team. He put this out there. I mean, look at that, 3,367 views, because this is like a high school basketball team, and the people, like the coach, the parents shared it, the teachers shared it, the kids are sharing it. People were commenting on it, and it was like a video, just an interview with the coach and how things go on with the team, and I guess they had done well. And so, but 3,000 views, like that's crazy, right? And it's just, this is on Martinson and Beeson, a law firm's Facebook page. This other one is with Chris. Actually happens to work with us, but he has like a side hustle around shoes. So he basically is like this big Jordan sneakerhead, and Morris has a son who's kind of like into like Jordans and stuff. And so he's like, hey, let me have Chris on, cause I want to learn more about this stuff. And sure enough, he's got, 2,500 people cared about shoes enough to go to Martinson and Beeson's website and watch these videos, which is pretty amazing. The other thing he does is he's very passionate on March of Dimes, and he's got a whole story about why. You can go learn about that. But we basically, took some of the stuff and said, he's like, how can I get more awareness around what we're doing? And, so we worked with him, actually created like a logo. And then last year I had this idea for like, hey, let's do a 50-state challenge. Let's see if I can get donors from every state. And it gave a reason to like reach out and tag people that he knew and he had networked over the years with in different states. And he ended up getting all 50 state donors from all 50 states. And people were like tagging other people saying, hey, I know somebody in Montana, and can you donate to
I
this?
donated to that. I was the Kansas guy.
You're the Kansas guy. Thank you, Mike.
Yep.
That's great. And so, but what a great way to like, grow, some awareness of your firm and what you do and Morris as a person. People are not going to look at that and go, oh, he's an evil person, because I mean, like who does all this effort and is an evil person, right? He's a great person.
And nobody likes lawyers, just statistically. Like
statistically,
you look at the data, there's not a lot of positive feelings about lawyers. So being able to do stuff like that, just it not only stands out from other lawyers, it stands out from what they perceive of lawyers, which really makes it stick, right. I think.
Yeah. And so this is another example. They were already doing this tinsel tree trail or something like that. It's like in Huntsville, where every like little business, sponsors something. You see these in every town, like somebody sponsors, and they have the little name Martin City Bees. And so they're like, well, how do we let people know we did this? And so they decided, hey, take a picture in front of our tree, tag us on social media, and, like share this or whatever. And they were giving, like they were drawing for gift cards or something like that. So they had all these people tagging them in front of their tree at this, this trail. Nobody else had done that. Right. So like, their business is getting extra awareness. So at the end of the day, everybody says organic reach is dead. You can't social media and organic social media. You can't really do anything without paying. These are two examples of, well, the one on the left, I guess I didn't have the numbers. But these are just the normal, like we were talking about, don't just, be a megaphone. So every once in a while, though, you want to tell people about something going on that's important that they need to know about, that's legal related, right? So here, look on the right, the recall notice from about this ceiling fan. I mean, he had 400 engagements and 7,000 people reached from Martinson and Beeson, the law firm's Facebook page, right? That, and had no payment on that. That was just an organic, really reached post. But that's because of all the other work going on that they kind of built a trust with people that, oh, when they post something, it's interesting, right? So organic reach is not dead, but it just takes, takes a lot of effort to kind of build that trust. And it's okay to still talk about, the fact that you're a lawyer. I'm not just saying, go out and only talk about charity things. Here, like Morris was speaking somewhere and about like a podcast thing he does. And so they share that, right? And then on the right, we've got Caleb was, connected or elected into a board in the town, so Madison County Volunteer Lawyers Program. So they posted that out there, right? So you still want to let people know you're a lawyer and that you're part of the community and you do lawyerly things. So and this is where like, look, this stuff actually does work. A lot of people say social media is hard to measure and stuff, and it is. But here is some analytics where we're saying, look, conversions that were based on somebody who initially came through some social media link into their website was up 260% over regular conversions. Sessions that came via social referral were up 230%. This is, year over year from when they kind of really started doing a lot of their social media pushes. So the stuff can work. And this was before they started doing a lot of paid. So this is all organic reach. Yeah, that's pretty good data. So another client of ours, just again, brainstorming, right? So they were already doing this backpack giveaway in their town for years. But they just kind of did it as people who knew them in a newsletter and talked about backpack giveaway, maybe word of mouth a little bit. And we're like, well, maybe we can get a little more reach, via some social media. So we basically, talked about the backpack. I'll get back to this one a little bit on paid. So we also use some paid on top of this to kind of promote it this most recent year. But it was a good, feel good thing. So it's to parents. And so here's, they would take pictures when people actually came in to get the backpacks. Here's a mom coming in to get the backpack from one of the lawyers here, for her daughter. And, so we're posting information about that. And it's, again, feel good, right? This is, like in their firm, and you got their logo in the background, everything, but again, it's connecting them with the community. The other thing that they do, and it's just kind of like, show the fun little quirk things you do in your office, right? So they have this thing where when it's somebody's birthday, each month everybody gets their own unique cake. And I guess there's, like if you knew them and their personalities, there's always like a tie-in to kind of who they are. And then, so we started posting on social media and tagging them, and the engagement they were getting was crazy because all these people were like, hey, happy birthday, so-and-so, happy birthday. Oh, it's my birthday. It's just, you get all these extra people posting and commenting about the fact, something they were already doing for years, just as a fun thing they did around their office, a kind of quirky thing in their office, and take advantage of. But again, people get to kind of know you, they get to like you, trust you a little bit more, and man, the engagement of people sharing the fact that it's somebody's birthday, like, that's one of the things, probably the most posts you get any day, like is on your birthday, all the people get the notification from Facebook, right? That it's your birthday. Well, here's yet another way to kind of like, push that a little bit. For tools for organic social media, I'm a big fan of like Buffer or Hootsuite, because you can actually sit down, think about your week or the next couple weeks, and you can kind of build a calendar of these posts, and really think about it. You can take content you've already done and maybe post it occasionally mixed in with some of the other stuff you're doing. So I think those are great tools to kind of like really spend like an hour on this once a week, and then let the stuff push it out the rest of the week. We personally do that at GNGF. So if you see posts like that, stuff that we've really spent time for like, an hour or two on one day, and then the next 2 weeks are done. And then on top of that, you do still have to engage. So this is just getting the post out there, but when people comment and react and stuff, you want to stay on top of that. For live interviews, I mentioned I know Morris uses Blue Jeans, BeLive is very popular, StreamYard, and you can actually do Zoom. So you can just take Zoom now and hit a button and send it to Facebook Live. So you can do like a Facebook Live interview just using Zoom. I got a link there. I probably should turn that into like a small bit.ly link.
Hey, Mark.
Yep.
We're going to do 2020 recording again, even though I've already done this today. Hey, Noah, I am recording. Stop singing. This is every time. This is staying in, by the way, because you people need to know,
awesome.
A, my kids are crazy, and B, This is 2020. This is life. Sorry, go on with your brilliance. You were saying?
So basically, because of that, this URL got to stay on the screen a little bit longer. So
Right,
if
exactly.
somebody really wants to go there, they can screenshot it. So that was well played, Michael. Thank you.
Purposeful marketing. There you go.
But anyway, like it's not my site. That's just a really good site about, if you do want to do some video streaming, some basics you can do there. And then I think, Canva is a super easy tool to use for just that any of us can, kind of level up our images a little bit.
Right.
So those are some tools for social media. Now get some brainstorming going. So you saw all the things that, I just gave examples of, like Morris and Hafez Davalt. But we've got, lots of clients, we're always pushing to think about this, but, like, who do you currently sponsor in the community? So in addition to making sure you're getting links from them, because SEO is important, but how can you kind of take that and leverage it on social media to let people know, hey, look, we sponsor this. And by the way, if you tag who you're sponsoring, they're going to go share it, right? So that March of Dimes stuff with Morris, when he created that 50 state challenge, guess who shared that? The March of Dimes. Guess who has a massive following? The March of Dimes, right?
Well, like you said, that's the great thing about doing interviews too. It's such easy content to do, and whoever you interview feels like a star. For some reason, being on your podcast or your Facebook Live or something is like being on Oprah to people, and so they will just share it like crazy.
Absolutely. So right now, like, Mike, you're doing this, right? You're bringing people on, you're bringing people and tell them, hey, you're an expert. So now I feel awesome. So of course I'm going to talk about Lawyer Forward all the time. And, we're probably going to email it. So my list is going to get learned.
This is my whole strategy. I'm just trying to leverage your fame and popularity. That's all I'm doing.
So one of the huge tip for a kind of local business is, and I got this from Morris, is interview. You talk about interview, right? Interview your weatherman or weatherwoman. Interview the weatherman in your neighborhood, because the person who has some of the most Twitter followers or social media followers is often the weather person, right? Because like everybody wants to know the weather, and guess who never really gets any kind of credit for anything? It's the weather, right? So have them on and talk about because that's a fascinating thing, like learning the kind of behind the scenes about like the weather and make it to your particular area and talk about that. Morris did that. I mean, like the amount of shares he got on that episode, because that weatherman was so excited to be interviewed, and then it led to him connecting more with that news network, and then he's been able to get some media spots as well because of that. So great, huge tip, right? I mean, just interview people. So what are the things on your website that you can look at your analytics and say, what are the things that have been the most popular over the past few years? Push those out, because if it was popular, that's stuff people may want to see again and don't even know you have. And then what are those like things that you've written, that great blog post or that great frequently asked question that nobody even really knows to ask? They're certainly not searching for it on Google, but it's something that they really should know, right? So maybe that's good content to kind of like be pushing out on social media and talk about why people should care. We talked about the special occasions with like birthdays, but like you got work anniversaries, you got holiday celebrations. So what are you guys doing for July 4th at the office? And then all your outside accomplishments, volunteer boards. I mean, lawyers are involved in a lot of things, right? Like, I mean, law firms always get asked to like sponsor stuff. You're always like end up being invited to boards. Talk about that stuff and leverage it, and tag the board, tag the charity, tag the team that you're working with. I mean, if you're in like any kind of little league or sports teams, there's like the team mom and dads and the coaches and stuff are going to share that stuff like crazy. So leverage stuff you're already doing. All right, now we've got like 15 minutes or less, I think, to go through paid social media. But I will try to make this quick because I'm going to focus mostly on Facebook. But let me talk about, first of all, I'm not going to go through how to do this because there's some actually great videos on Facebook. So if you go to facebook.com/business/learn, they've got great, video series on how to like actually use Facebook for advertising and the different ways to do the Facebook ads and stuff. So the how to, leverage those videos. I'm going to get more into like the why and some examples. So first of all, when we take over a lot of campaigns and people haven't been doing organic work, like a lot of stuff we just talked about, this is what you typically see from a reach perspective. It's heavy paid and next to nothing on organic because people just really don't usually put the work in. But when you do both, so let's say you have done a lot of the things we talked about and then you do paid on top of it, the paid actually makes the organic run better. So you can see like whenever paid's happening, the organic reach is actually further. So the two work together really well. So if you're doing the organic, it makes sense to maybe boost a little bit with some of the paid. I use the term boost. I don't actually mean the Facebook term boost, but doing paid advertising. All right. Also, because we are, in this time, I thought I'd throw this slide in because it's very interesting. Over the last month, we've seen a significant increase on campaigns that were already running, and they were actually decent campaigns, and we're like, well, it doesn't really need to change this. The message doesn't really change based on COVID. So you can see the campaign went from 20,000 to 40,000 with no changes in the campaign. In terms of reach, because I think just more and more people are on Facebook. So the impressions are just significantly more. So therefore your cost per impression actually went down in March because of, I think, just the amount of people at home and on Facebook.
And I'm assuming Facebook works like Google, where it's like a bidding thing. And so if fewer people are advertising right now, they're turning off their advertising dollar. Does it get cheaper?
So Google's definitely, we've seen a drop in some paid ads. Facebook, so it depends on how you do the ads, right? So you can do it based on impressions. So it's certainly cheaper to get the amount of impressions because you're getting a lot more impressions, therefore your cost per impression is going down. If you're doing the per click, I haven't looked at the data on that, to be honest. So I could, but I'm assuming it would be similar to Google on a pay per click model where it's gone down because a lot of people turn stuff off. But man, our clients that are doing paid Facebook right now during this time are having very, very good success. So if anybody already has a lot of the foundation stuff and can just maybe throw a little bit of money at some Facebook, you'll see some return. If you don't have all the foundation stuff, like there's, you can't just throw money at Facebook and expect clients to magically appear, believe it or not.
Womp womp.
So the one thing I want to talk about is there's a concept of funnel, right? So Facebook is great for the organic stuff we talked about, is really, really good for brand awareness and high funnel activities. But you also can do some ads, and Facebook has this ability to do retargeting. So if somebody watched your Facebook ad or went to your website, you can target them with another ad that's more specific and then work them down this kind of concept of a funnel. And then you can actually run Facebook ads that are very, lead gen focused. So click here, sign up kind of thing. So Facebook can hit all these social media ads, I guess, in general, but I'm talking heavy on Facebook today. Can hit all these different areas. Your Google paid advertising tends to be much more low funnel. So pay per click is like somebody said, I need a divorce attorney. That paid ad is going to be pretty low funnel. Social media tends to kind of hit higher areas of this kind of funnel. Does that make sense?
Yep.
All right. So when we talk about Facebook, we do need to know that we gotta get beyond the fact that that it gets a little creepy. Facebook is a data company; they are not a social media company. So if you get over the creepy, you can do a lot of targeting with Facebook. If this bothers you, then just don't do it. But you can do a lot of great targeting, and there's been plenty of studies out now that people have come out and said, I prefer to have ads that match my interests. On average. There's some people that would never want that, but definitely do the demographics. But I'm going to talk about this detailed targeting. So first of all, demographics, right? So don't advertise just on Facebook. And if you're an attorney in North Carolina, why would you want something from California? So if you're going to spend some money, please do some targeting around just basic demographics of where you are. If you know that I never really like working with somebody who's under 30, it doesn't make sense for the type of work I do, then limit the age. If it's it could be lower, it could be higher. Like if your kind of general target market, you can do the basic demographics. That part's really easy, and Facebook has this data very, very clearly understood. But next, here's where we can start being creative, right? So HaFestival, I talked about that backpack giveaway. They also recently are sponsoring. They're giving healthcare professionals lunch. So this is a really cool ad because not only did, like they're saying where they're at, so the Lake Forest Memorial Health System, they tagged, they said, hey, we're giving them lunch. Our goal is to do this every week until the pandemic comes to an end. Thank you to the 2 restaurants, right? So they tagged 3 people that were involved in this to get some, information, and we're able to send it. So by the way, this is sponsored. So this is a paid ad, but it's coming across like just a social post, right? We're not kind of saying, read my blog, sponsor, come lead gen right now, right? It's just a very, friendly, we're a nice law firm in the community. But we're able to target people who have maybe given charitable donations before, because what they're looking for is, hey, come help us support, is what this message was. So Diane Sawaya, there was a bunch of, this is actually a general promotion that a lot of personal injury attorneys are able to get on, this like giving away a Harley thing. So she had signed up for that. I don't even remember who did that. But so we had the Harley. So we were able to actually target this ad to people who, you know, are expressed that they're motorcycle enthusiasts, right? We've got Morris did something for these military members who used earplugs between a certain date. 3M apparently knew that they were faulty earplugs, and all these people are coming back and having major ear issues now, you know, tinnitus and all these kind of hearing problems because of these earplugs. So we're able to kind of like target these ads. Again, this is an example of, guess who's probably not looking for this because they don't even know it's a thing.
Right.
So can we target these people, give them some awareness, and say, hey, this is something you should care about. You can target based on income. You can target, you know, maybe if you want to focus on small business owners who are in certain kind of income within their zip code for maybe estate planning or some kind of need, right? Or, you know, high net worth divorces we talked about earlier. Detailed targeting on, you know, people who are maybe recently married. You've got parents. So we did a scholarship program with someone where we sponsored, you know, to drive more awareness around this law firm giving a scholarship away and to get, you know, more students to apply. You don't target the students, by the way.
Right.
Target the parents who say, hey, go fill out the scholarship, right? And then the other great thing about Facebook is that, you know, you don't have to do this every single time. You can start building these and create audiences and have these saved audiences that then you can target your ads to once you've kind of built and thought through this. All right, again, so we'll talk about the funnel. So the other thing is looking at our time. What's your goal at the end of the day? Do you are you looking for conversions? Are you looking for your Facebook page growth? Do you want just general brand awareness? Are you looking for landing page visits, right? So those goals are going to kind of change the way you target and actually the way you do the ads. And when you go through the Facebook videos, this will make sense. You know, I kind of talked about what is your goal, and you'll see there's different ways to actually attack the videos. Or you just like sharing pictures of puppies, and I need to get a, oh.
And who doesn't? I mean, come on, don't do that. I've got a story to tell you about that when we're offline. We are currently on slide 52 of 73, so it's fair to say that Mark Homer has much to say about this subject of social media. Mark, I'm going to ask you to go to the end where your free ebook is listed again. But I want to make a point that I think you'll back me up on. The thing that I've said for years, and we've told this story with Tracy Ahart's experience and with a lot of other lawyers, is to be yourself loudly, to do, you know, people, like Mark said, people want to hire people, and that transparency, that openness, it's fundamental to creating connection. And so I hope what you will do, and this sounds very contrary to lawyers' ideas of professionalism, but as me screaming at my kids makes clear, professionalism is an illusion. This is 2020. Okay, it's all a fiction. The world's coming to it. You can be yourself loudly. People want you to. Mark, I wanted to ask you best way to reach you, but it seems like next step might be going and picking up this book.
Yeah, I'd say grab this book, gnjf.com/free book. It's I mean, pretty good book. I mean, it's got a step-by-step, you know, all the things you kind of need to be thinking about when it comes to like marketing your law firm. And the other thing I would say is, you know, from a shameless plug, is you can go to gnjf.tv, and that can link to our YouTube channel or our Facebook page where we've got tons of videos. We're definitely looking to grow our YouTube subscriber base. So my shameless plug is please subscribe to our YouTube channel.
I'm looking for myself here.
You're there, second on the left. Look at that.
There he is.
Yes,
not at the top, which is kind of insulting because there's a lot of Mark at the top, but you know, I'm near.
Yeah, 4 months ago. But so our Facebook page has like, you know, hundreds and hundreds of views per video. So we're working on getting our YouTube page going. So.
Well, all right, brother. Well, I appreciate you. And remember, everybody watching, if you are watching this into the future, go back to the Lawyer Forward Facebook group and look for the thread on this. Getting tactical with social media, it's hard to talk about in these kinds of contexts where we're just teaching a lesson. But there are ideas to be bounced around and other people to share. And I hope that you'll go get involved. We'll point to some other people, and actually we might just tag Mo and tag Morris Lilienthal in this and tell him just to join it and tell us what he's doing. But anyway, Mark, I appreciate you, and I hope to see you out in the virtual world. Don't come to my house.
See you, Mike.
Thanks, buddy.